Yes, hello everyone. Hope you're doing all right. Welcome back to Newcastle Fans TV. We have some official news. The big one, of course, Eddie Howe was back. Fabian Schar update. Prices for tickets for pre-season is through the roof. And we've also got some transfer rumours to rattle through. But let's get going, everyone. Play the VT. We do have Bruno in the middle, everybody. We do. Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing all right. Good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are across the world. Thank you for joining me here on Newcastle Fans TV. We have some news to rattle through today for you, but obviously we've got Ipswich Town this weekend. Newcastle need to bounce back after I would call it the humiliating defeat away at Aston Villa. Just wasn't good enough, simply wasn't good enough. But of course, we are proudly sponsored by Match Bingo today, who are basically giving you, if you deposit £10, they'll give you 20 quid back, and also they'll give you an extra line to play with on their bingo card. Take a look at this. So over 200,000 has been paid out already to players so far by taking sports betting, football and bingo, combining them into one brilliant app. Make sure you get your bingo card for the Ipswich game coming up next week. Click through the link in the description or see the QR code on your screen, scan that and that'll take you to the app. Bingo cards for this game are you buy 4 and you get 1 free. Do check out our sponsors. Match Bingo QR code just to the bottom right of me here, and you can also see it in the link in the description. So thank you for Match Bingo for that. Right, let's get cracking then. So fantastic news, isn't it, that Eddie Howe is back. Get in. Jason Tindall, of course, has had the squad for 3 games, winning 2 of them. And as I've touched upon, that defeat at Aston Villa for me wasn't good enough. But it's just the presence of Eddie Howe being back, because in any work of life, your manager, naturally, if your manager goes illness or he's off for whatever, naturally over time, not saying straight away, but naturally over time, there might be a little bit of slight behavioural changes where, do you know what, instead of having a 15-minute break, I might take a 20 today, stuff like that, Not everyone's like that, but it can. And what I'm trying to get at is that extra 5% effort might not be there if the presence of your boss isn't there. So slacking might be the word. I'm not accusing the lads of doing that, but the longer it goes on, I would have thought that might come into play with 1 or 2 individuals. That's just law of averages. But delighted he's back. Presence. He's won World Cup. We're fighting on the Champions League front. Jason Tindall won the first 2 games quite comprehensively. And of course, as I say, the defeat against Aston Villa wasn't good enough, but he's back, and it's a great opportunity. A great game to have to bounce back. Ipswich Town, who could be relegated this weekend, who are likely to be. And it's a great opportunity to bounce back against a side that is really struggling. So Newcastle are at home. You would I demand a win. I demand a team that tries this weekend. I think we'll have to win if we want Champions League football. We'll have to beat Ipswich. It's as simple as that. And I think it's an absolute perfect opportunity because Ipswich have to basically win every single game. So they can't park the bus, Ipswich, otherwise they can't do. More on one of the Ipswich strikers in a moment, because that is one of the transfer rumours. But the club obviously put a statement out today which said Newcastle United are delighted to confirm that Eddie Howe has returned to his duties at the club's training centre. Eddie has been recently hospitalised with pneumonia and has now returned to work after a period of recovery, with thanks supporters for his warm wishes. And it wasn't just Newcastle fans who were giving the well wishes. I've seen several of football clubs, several of opposition managers, even some players. It was brilliant to see, and that's what the community of football is all about. We get a lot of stick, especially the men's side. The women's not so much. For the women's, I think the women's have got it ticked off to a T. I think they're brilliant, the women's community, but the men's is still a lot of work to be done on. But good to see so many people giving him well wishes, because he's a nice, not just that, he's a great manager, but he's a nice bloke as well. I've had the opportunity to meet him. He's an absolutely wonderful bloke. So brilliant to see him back. That's the first piece of news. The next one is a little bit worrying. No sign of Fabian Schar in training this week. Let me just pull that graphic up for you. He hasn't been pictured at all. And if you remember against Aston Villa, he was subbed off. He was feeling his hamstring a little bit. Jason Tindall said that in the post-match interviews. He hasn't been spotted. Slight worry because, he's except for the Villa game, I know he scored, but apart from the Villa game where I think him and Trippier ripped apart, I think he's been on good form, to be honest, just before the cup final. And naturally, you would think Emil Kraft would be the one who will come straight back in for him. But Sven Botman is back in training. It'll be a bit of an ask if he chuck Botman straight back in. Is he ready to play 70, 80 minutes, and maybe then you substitute him later on the game, but you're also playing with 2 left-footed centre-backs, potentially. Obviously, Jamal Lascelles is nowhere near return, so you would think it would be Kraft if Fabian Schar doesn't make it. We'll wait and see if Eddie Howe mentions that tomorrow. I'm expecting Eddie Howe to be in the press comments. I'm jumping the gun a little bit here, and I'm also expecting Eddie Howe to be in the dugout, even though he's back literally today or yesterday, when he was actually officially back. But I expect Eddie Howe to be in the dugout and the presser, and we'll know more whether it'll be assessed last minute. But also just touch upon some of them training picks as well. Leo Shaha, who I really, really rate, came from Wolves a couple of years ago, or a full-back, predominantly right-back. He's been training with the first team, so that's interesting. He might be Trippier's understudy if Kraft is playing centre-back, because then if the game's won, you could give him 10, 15 minutes potentially. But yeah, that's one option that Newcastle might look at. So good to see youngsters being involved as well. Now, I do want to come on a bit of negativity because the ticket prices for Singapore is just mental. It's almost the same, if not almost. I think it's only like £2-3 in it. So if you want to sit with the Arsenal supporters or the Newcastle supporters, how much will that cost you in a friendly? Quick, go. Give us a number. Keep sitting in the top of your head. How much? How much is a friendly? £117. £117. I'll say that again. Absolute ridiculous. Now, I know the cost of living in Singapore may be more because it's a rich, like, city-state country, which you can drive from one end to the other end of the country, something in 40 minutes or something, which is mental. It's madness. £117. If you want to go neutral, it's about 62, 63. It is an insane amount how much that costs. Now, for locals, look, I get what they're doing it because they're targeting locals predominantly, because they're saying Arsenal and Newcastle, oh my God, two massive Premier League sides. They'll just happily pay that. But for obviously the likes of myself, one or two other YouTube individuals who might be going over there, that is a lot of money considering you've got to have the tickets just alone are that price. Then you've got to get a flight from London to effectively Singapore. You could go to Kuala Lumpur from Malaysia and down, but that's a long way in. And then you're waiting on the club to announce where they're going to go next, which is muted that it could be South Korea. South Korea is nowhere near Singapore. That's another 6-hour flight, so that's going to cost you. And then to get from South Korea back to London, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money for a lot of people. They want to go on these lifetime trips, and I'm in a really fortunate position where I could take care of my money and I can go on these trips because I put all my money aside. But some people can't. And it's like, Christ, just a match ticket alone is pricing out a lot of people, man. A lot of people. Some people might not be going just because of that. Yes, flights and stuff are expensive, but come on, look after the fans, man. I just thought that was absolutely mental. This is where Newcastle are actually playing. It's the National Stadium in Singapore. It's like a I don't know, it's like a dome from the outside, but inside, I'm not a fan of the running track. I didn't like that. Yes, it's a friendly in Newcastle. It's going to be a money-making exercise. Of course it is. This is why the clubs go abroad, but this is where they'll be playing Arsenal, which is madness because the Arsenal tickets for the last Premier League game have only just came out yesterday, so I've got mine, but it's just... it's mad that another ticket for Arsenal are already out, but the price, man, it's not so much the flights and stuff. It's the match tickets that's really bugged me. But look, I get it. I do get it. I just hope that, because even last year in Japan, I think the most, which one was it? It was one of them was £26, which is all right, and another one was 40. Was it 44? And I thought that was steep for friendly, considering the first game was in a half-empty stadium. But yeah, it's madness, the pricing of them. It's absolute bonkers, I have to say. There's a bit of official news today. We're going to go through. Actually, I would want to mention something else before we get on to some of the rumours. My match vlog was actually shown on Premier League Productions, which I'm absolutely delighted and thrilled at. They're using my footage, which is great. I take a lot of pride and effort into my match vlogs. I never rush them, because I always want to have the quality looking good, 4K, audio, all of that. Never rush our match vlogs. And Sam had the opportunity to go on to Premier League Productions. Now, we did originally put the video out, but we're told we'll get done for copyright, so we've had to pull it. That audio, if you want to listen to it, it's going to be on NFTV Extra later on this evening. So if you want to take a look at that, that's on our sister channel, NFTV Extra. So do go and check that out. So, yeah, it's just one of them things that, whilst we're appearing on video, we could, because it's not in the producer's hands if that gets flagged for copyright. So we don't want to risk it. Otherwise, we can't go live. I think that's still the case. If you get a strike, I think you can't go live for 3 months. I might be wrong on that. It might have changed. I'm speculating there. I just remember what it used to be a year or two back. But let's go through some transfer rumours before we wrap up. So I want to start with the Dutch-born Spanish international now, Dean Huijsen, who, of course, was signed on the cheap by Bournemouth. What a pick Areola's picked up here, and it got him really, really cheap from Juventus. And according to reports from the Daily Mail and the Independent, Chelsea are now the favourites to sign the newly crowned Spanish international ahead of Newcastle. Now, of course, it's no secret that Newcastle do need a long-term replacement for Fabian Schar, who has signed recently a new one-year deal. There is Mark Gahey. There is now the option of Dean Huijsen. There is rumours that there is a transfer release clause. If you ask me out of the two, who would you prefer? I'd probably go with Huijsen ahead of Mark Gahey. I think Gahey's good, but he can be a little bit different. I think Huijsen's had a fantastic season, so out of the two, and he's, 5 years younger? We'll have to wait and see. I think, look, we are in the long-term market. For me personally, I think we need a couple of positions that are priority. I think a right winger has to be the number one. I think if Callum Wilson goes, we need a striker, which will come out in a minute, possibly goalkeeper, and as I say, long-term right centre-back as well. And you never know, one or two bodies might leave as well. We might have to replace them if people do leave for cover. But though that's your first one, let's talk about the striker situation, because funny enough, Liam Dilap has been linked with Luke Edwards today. And it's gone to say Newcastle are ready to press ahead with the interest in Ipswich striker Liam Dilap in the coming weeks, and that's according to Luke Edwards. Of course, Newcastle play Ipswich, so it'll be interesting to see how Dilap gets on, whether Fabian Schär's fit or it's Emil Krath or Dan Burn looks after him. It'll be a good tussle, that, won't it? So we'll be keeping an eye on that battle towards this weekend. Obviously, there was some rumours. Again, these are rumours, people. This isn't fully 100% accurate because not everyone's in the know what anyone thinks. But it's rumoured that he's got a release clause of just 30 million. That's really low. And if it is that low, you would be stupid not to go in for that because he's had a fantastic season, well into double figures. Ipswich are going down. Dilap will want to try and at least get in that England squad. He's not going to do it in the Championship, is he? So, yes, he might be second fiddle to Alexander Isak, but he'll play a lot of cup games. He'll get 20 minutes probably each game because Isak doesn't necessarily have to come off. Isak can go out on the left at times during a game. So, if it's 30 million, why not? Why not indeed? I'll back that for 30 million. 40 million potentially, because I think Dilap will be happy to progress. I don't think naturally he'll want to sit on the bench all the time, but when it's Alexander Isak, whoever comes in isn't getting ahead of him because Alexander Isak is elite now. He deserves to play for your Barca's, your Real Madrid's, your Bayern Munich's, elite. Possibly even a Man City, but they've got Haaland, so we're going to be all right with that. Isak's not going anywhere before we get into that tangle. And then the last one I want to cover up is James McIy, who had an interview a couple of weeks ago. He was a little bit frustrated that he wasn't getting enough game time, but he has. So's Nico O'Reilly. Both of them have been getting some game time for Man City of late. The Telegraph has said that Man United, that's not happening. I think this is a load of bollocks if you ask me. The Telegraph say that Man United have reportedly joined the race to sign James McIy should he leave Man City this summer. Newcastle among several clubs keeping an eye on the 22-year-old. Look, he is playing a lot more game time. If I think he'll sit down with Pep Guardiola in the next couple of weeks at the end of the season where is he going to get the same amount or is he going to get more next season? I think he's ready to play first team full time. And if he needs to go back out loan, I don't know. I think Guardiola likes him. If he comes to Newcastle, there's a few positions that he could play. He could go on the wings, left or right. We don't really play with a 10, so could he do a job as the most advanced centre midfield? Potentially a bit of creativity. Could he play as a second striker? We'll have to probably tweak with formation for that. But personally, I don't think Newcastle are in for him. I think that's a load of bollocks out of those three. I think it's probably Huijsen and Dilap. For me, those two. That are probably be more realistic than Newcastle are only looking at. Doesn't mean saying that they're going to go bid for him. That's a totally different kettle of fish. But there we go. That is your official news, some transfer news. We'll be back, of course. We've got a double header. We've got Ipswich at home, and then the Lasses are at home as well, so my car can have a breather. So I'll be both of them as well. Ipswich is my 70th game this season. The Lasses is the 71st, so we'll see you then. Stay tuned here at Newcastle Fans TV. We'll bring you loads more. Keep an eye on the website, newcastlefanstv.com. You can check all my articles out. I've done 4 the past week. And of course, with social media, as ever, updated. You know the score. Right, we'll see you everyone. Watch Wednesday. Ta-da.